Today's mix covers three different topics. We start by looking at technical reviews and other reviews of other engineers' work. We'll then move on to look at different learning types and learning styles as you assess how you work as a self-directed learner. And finally, we'll look at some of the ways in which, once you complete your studies here, that you can start engaging as a professional engineer before you get your license. So there are actually many reasons why you might want to review another engineer's work. There are personal reasons. You might want to maintain your own competence, and by reviewing a good example of how to do something, it can help you determine if your skills are up to date or not. It also helps the other person if you're reviewing their work for accuracy or to assess their competence. For example, if you're reviewing a more junior member's performance on a particular engineering task. There are really three types of review that occur in an engineering context when reviewing somebody else's work for them. There's a regulatory review where you're assessing whether work completed has met the legal requirements. There's a practice review where you're assessing the quality of the individual engineers working on the activity. And there's a technical review where you're determining if the technical content of the work is correct, but not the individuals doing the work. It may not always be obvious what the review purpose is, so it's important to clarify that early on. Typically, reviews can be distinguished by the reason for doing it, the nature of the material to be reviewed, whether it's technical in nature or organisational in nature, what the purpose of the review is, who's going to use that information, what are the required steps to take when performing that review, and who's responsible for both creating the documents subject to review and who is responsible for doing the review. When doing reviews, it's important to make sure you comply with the Professional Engineers Act aspects around ensuring fairness to fellow engineers. So the two main types of review are a practice review, which is evaluating the professional engineers themselves, and a technical review, which is analysing the technical output of a project. So practice reviews fundamentally deal with how work was carried out, what did the individual engineering practitioner do in achieving the work required. Whereas technical reviews are looking at the nature of the output. They're not assessing how somebody did the work, but rather the outcome, was it appropriate, sufficient, and so on. Were the assumptions made valid, were the conclusions valid, was the design that resulted fit for use, was the work sufficient to meet the requirements it was trying to meet, were there options that should have been considered that weren't, was it rigorous, unbiased, and so on and so forth. So we've said that reviewing work can also be a source of maintaining one's competence. By reviewing how other engineers perform their work, this allows us to make sure that we are maintaining our own skills and that we're following best practices as we see in other people's work. Which leads naturally on to continuing education. When you complete your formal education, what techniques and tools are you going to make use of to maintain your competence? And who are you expecting to fund that continuing education, or how are you going to fund it if you're doing it yourself? And where are you going to turn to get that continuing education? Are you going to turn to formal entities like universities who do offer continuing education programs? Are you going to look to conferences? Are you going to look for journals or textbooks? What's the mechanism that you're looking for? And in terms of the goal of the education, are you looking for pieces of paper that show that you've completed it, or are you looking for the input itself? So how important is some level of evaluation? There are many, many massively online open courses available that are open for free if you don't want any formal evaluation at the end of it. However, some record of having taken it may be important for your future career. And continuing professional development is likely to be an ongoing requirement for licensing. Currently in Ontario, there is no formal requirement for it, but there are currently discussions around that. So where would you fall in that regard? And I provide a link to a video discussing some of these issues for you to watch. In thinking about how you think you will continue to learn beyond formal education, it's worth reflecting on how you prefer to learn. And depending on the topic, you might have different preferences, but overall there will be likely certain things that you find easier to fit into your lifestyle, and certain things that will be harder for you to manage. I have posted a number of resources relating to learner types on the Moodle site, so please take a look at those and have a reflection on how you believe you learn. The 4 steps that are common to all self-directed learning are captured from this content from the University of Waterloo. It's important that you're actually ready to learn the new information. So that might be that you're trying to acquire a new topic and you don't yet have all the prerequisites for it. Or it might be that you're at a point where you're extremely busy working on some current job applications or activities, and you don't have the time or capacity to actually think about new learning at the minute. So being ready to learn is really thinking about, is this the right time for you to acquire this new knowledge or skill, or update an existing skill? In terms of appropriate goals for learning, why are you trying to learn this new information? What do you hope to do with it? How do you think it might help? Sometimes the answer will be, I don't know, but I'm interested. But oftentimes there will be specific reasons why you're choosing to learn a specific new skill, knowledge, or update some existing capabilities. Are you engaged in the learning process? In other words, when you take this new learning that you're taking, are you finding that it's working for you? Are you getting benefit from it? Are there options to stop if it's not benefiting you? Thinking about how much time you're able to dedicate to it, whether you're getting out of it what you wanted throughout the process, is important. And that basically leads to the 4th point, which is the learning effective for you? And just like at university, where it's a large cost that you're bearing, when it comes to self-directed learning beyond formal education, it's important that you get out of any learning activity what you're intending to. So thinking about what the goals were, thinking about how effective you're meeting those goals with any given learning activity is of key importance. One tool to help you as you first graduate on the path to becoming a professional engineer is that of the engineering training program, which can help you get to the point of becoming a professional engineer. It gives you work experience reviews, you can get financial aid with the licensing process, you can attend seminars and join a chapter and start networking, which can all be useful early in a career before you get a formal license. In terms of eligibility, by taking an accredited engineering course, as you all are, you're going to be eligible when you graduate. If you didn't do this, there are other ways to become eligible. If you apply within the first 6 months of graduation, you don't have to pay the license fee to become an engineering training, and you don't have to pay the first year's registration fee.